Hello, so today we're spending some time with my fishies. I have had this fish tank for about at least 2 years now. Got it from Facebook. Someone didn't really know how to take care of fish, and I really wanted to pet when I came in. So here we are. So I know for some of you who have done this before, you could see that this is a bit overstocked. I'd just like to show you my family. So first up we have our, wasn't sure what their name was, but they're called, these orange ones are like red black-tailed platies. And then we've got a single female guppy. There used to be a lot more, but guppies are terribly sensitive to water changes. And then we've got these ones with some more at the back, so they are your bronze neon tetras. And of course these beautiful fishies, which are your, they look adult now. They look very nice when they were little. These are your common neon tetras. You've got another friend as well. Let me see if I can find him. So that is the singular panda Cory that I have, and then I should be able to show you some of my favorite, not necessarily fishy, but one of them is there. If you can see that is one of my cherry shrimp, and then there should be another one. I will show you later if I manage to see him, but I have at least 3 cherry shrimp in this small. Oh, there you are. Hello. So if you can see him, there he is. Hopefully I have enough resolution. Let's try and get out or get in. Let's see. Hello. So this is my adult cherry shrimp. There are about 3 of them here. So today, it's been a while. It's been like more than a month, and we are going to change their water. Now, the first thing we need to do before we take out anything or change the water is to try and clean the glass from the inside a bit. If you would be able to see, I'm not sure how clear this video would come out, there are a few algae spots already on our aquarium. Now, this is an acrylic aquarium, so the material would be a bit different. In most glass aquariums, you wouldn't really need that much of care, or don't need to think about the material that you're using with most glass aquariums, because they're a bit more scratch proof. But this is acrylic, so this is very prone to scratching. And if you would ask me, ideally I would be using this regular sponge, because this green part here is a bit scratchy, but then there has been a bit of algae buildup, and I wanted something to take off the algae. So what I just have to do is scratch lightly, just to take off the scrape off the top of the top layer of algae that we have. Now let's just make sure we go through all of the surfaces. And now we're getting ready to. Now, just because our water level is a bit low now, we will just try and take the air filter off from its from the plug, just because the water level will start going down to a point where it will bring damage to our water filter if we let it run without any water. Another tip is that every time you decide or schedule to change the water in your aquarium, you never clean the filters in the same day. It has a lot to do with the water. It has a lot to do with the water having to keep most of its beneficial bacteria. Now, for those of you who have been taking care of fish before, you know that bacteria in the water helps a lot with regards to making sure that the water is free of nitrates and nitrites and ammonia, so that beneficial bacteria helps to take out most of it, which allows our fish to thrive. Now if you manage to do both water change and filter change in the same day, it would be a bit risky for your fish because there's a chance that they won't be able to adjust very well with such a drastic water change. Now I may have done in the past some instances where I changed the water and the filter at the same time, but I'm just let's just say I'm just lucky because I have very hardy fish, and to be honest, these are beginner fish. These are very good fish for beginners. I think I've lucked out as well with the cherry shrimp because they were a bit hardy. I thought that I've lost them for a few days before, for a few times before, but yeah, that's how it is. So now we will be starting our water change. As another tip that I've learned over the past years, you should not change more than 25% of the water level of your aquarium, just because of the beneficial bacteria and the drastic change in the water minerals as well. Especially if you live in a water where there is a less than ideal water quality for your fish, you wouldn't want to shock them by putting too much of new water at the same time. So at this point, you will just be taking maybe not necessarily 25, 30 or something, since it has been a while since I've changed the water in this aquarium. So let's begin. This is a basic water changing hose that I bought here. It can be a lot better. The only issue with this is very traumatic to my fishies, but it does its job. So I'm starting a sort of suction now. What you want to do is just clear out the bottom like that, and then left, make sure you get into that. As you can see, those small bits. Yes, now it's up to you. The only thing about my aquarium is that it's mostly gravel. I didn't put any substrates in, and if you can see the plants that I have, I only managed to super glue it to one of the ceramic pots that I put in. But of course, if ever you are using like some substrate, it will be a very different way of cleaning. To my point, I don't usually clean the tank completely. Just make sure to get rid of extra debris, just because I want to leave some food for either my shrimp or the plants that I have in the future. I'm planning to change this one as well, maybe put in some substrate just to make it a lot healthier. Alright, we're nearing almost the 25% mark, so we stop there, just so that we don't shock the fish and the shrimp too much. Then it's time for some water change. Next, we're about to put some more water into our aquarium. Now, pro tip, if you're trying to put in some water, of course you do not want to stress out your fish by the turbulence that new water brings in. So in any case, like if you don't have these ornaments, you can put a saucer or an overturned cup into your aquarium, and then what you can do is pour the water onto there, just so that you can spread out the pressure. Again, what I'm doing, do not follow what I'm doing. It's just that I have enough ornaments, and I'll try and pour in the water a bit slowly so as not to shock my fish too much. At this point, my fish are already used to it, but it is generally not a good thing to do, to just pour in the water all at once. Also, try and control the temperature of your water. Too hot and too cold is not necessarily, well, is a no-no. So you might want to have is, if you're a bit if you have the money and you have the resources, you might want to invest into a thermometer just for your water. Different types of fish tend to stay within a certain range of temperature. I've had the misfortune of putting in a heater before and not checking it, and it started going real high, and sadly I lost a few fish because of it. I only noticed it because my fish was starting to get a bit too lethargic. They weren't moving, they were just staying at the bottom of the tank. So yeah, make sure you have the proper equipment, and as you can see, trying to just ease it in slowly. So most of the fish are hiding behind the ornament now, which protects them from the turbulence of this water, which works. Of course, some don't really know better and they just tend to rush into the water, maybe hoping for some food. Okay, we might need another batch, so wait, let's put it some more just to top it off, make it look nice. And that should do it. Of course, you wouldn't want to fill your tank up too much. Now, just because you wouldn't want splashes all around your aquarium, that should be enough. And like with others, I was fortunate with the fish that I have, because if you do this with some fish, they will just try and jump out of the tank and you'd be left with a dead fish. Now that I put some water, tend to help the water recover a bit, so it would be useful to put in some filter boost. So this is live beneficial bacteria which we will be putting into the water. We just have to follow instructions just to help our fish adjust for a while and make the water better for them quickly. Yep, a few mils depending on how big your aquarium is, just to help out. Not too much, of course, or else you would be everything in moderation. So just enough to help your water boost out a bit. And then now we go to cleaning the filter. The next step, cleaning the filter. So again, as I've told you before, if you can help it, never clean your filter at the same time you're changing water. But for the purposes of our video, we are doing this now. Now, mind you, this is a no-no. This is still an electric plug, so as much as possible, you need to take it away from any water source. However, I've already wet the plug, so what I'm just gonna do is dry it out for later before we put it back in. Now, to start with the filter, first thing you have to do, as you can see, I am cleaning this one in the sink. As you all know, you always have to be mindful of your health, and you always have to remember that this is still fish poo. And fish poo, in most cases, is still harmful to people. So after you've cleaned this in the sink, you have to make sure to decontaminate the area, especially if you're gonna clean some plates afterwards. Now, with regards to us cleaning the filter, first thing you have to do is to rinse off the area. Make sure that there's no soap around, because soap, as you know, is harmful, very harmful to our fish. Now we go to the actual filter itself. Now, since I am a cheapskate, I figured to use like regular washing sponges just to filter out, because at this point, I've been lucky to have had not so messy fish. If this were goldfish or something, this just won't do. But they are small live feeders, so this is pretty much okay. Now we just take that out, and then rinse them just to get rid of the solid debris. You can see the water is still a bit mucky. Yeah, don't mind the actual color of the sponge, because that's just some of the medications that I've put in that just discolored the sponge. If you would believe that was originally blue and just managed to absorb some of the medication that I've put in. take off the filter at the bottom. This is just to keep small fish and thankfully shrimp out. You just wash it all off. Take out the actual motor. So you've got your submersible motor. So we have the sponge as well, so just rub them out. Take out any solid pieces that may block the intake of the filter. Take the actual filter itself. You would see here, you have what you call the impeller. So it's the one, it is the mechanism that actually allows the filter to move the water in and out of our device. And it's got a magnet on it and a propeller which pulls the water in. Of course, in here you have the actual motor and it's protected so as to be submersible. You have to make sure that you scratch it off, make sure it works well. And as you've noticed, I haven't used any soap, never used any soap. And to a point, I shouldn't even be using actual tap water because some tap waters are very hard for fish. But then for this point, like I said, I haven't really cleaned my aquarium and filter in a while, so just want to make a proper clean for it. One thing you can do, like if you're cleaning regularly, unlike I do, is when you take out some water from the actual aquarium, dip the filter in there and just rinse it all off in there so that you keep the beneficial bacteria, the good bacteria, all within the filter. And when you put it back in, it's not something that's full of chlorine and full of soap or full of anything. It's pretty much the same water that's been going around your filter for a while, so there is no or little risk of you shocking or giving your fish a hard time. Now, give it a good scrub, like I said, no soap or anything. And while we're at the topic of cleaning, pro tip, when you're changing the water of your aquarium as well, what you can do is reuse the water. Like I said, dirty aquarium water is full of fish poo. And what does poo equate to? Fertilizer. So for those of you who are plantitos and plantitas, it might be a good idea to take an aquarium as well. That way you could upcycle your recycled water, your dirty aquarium water, and give a nice boost to your plants. Give them something natural to eat, rather than buying some expensive fertilizer from the outside. Now we're pretty much done. All we have to do is reassemble our filter, and then we should be okay to go. Okay, so always remember the most important part of your filter is your impeller. Why is it important? Well, it makes the water come around, and in most cases it is the part of your it is the part of your aquarium or your machine that gets lost quickly, so you have to watch out for it. Okay, that's pretty much okay. Just have to make sure a few minor scratches, just make sure it's completely clean. Take out some gunk, some extra algae, run it through some water, make sure it's working well. To be honest, you have available filters over the internet, but then they're just too expensive. I mean, you can get away with some filter floss, some sponges. Maybe sponges actually also help with your beneficial bacteria, give them a place to live, and put them back in. And we should be ready to go. And now we're almost done with our cleaning. I know it's a menial task, but yeah, I just wanted to share with everyone. So before I put the filter back in, what I did was just rinse it off in some old aquarium water that I didn't dispose of yet from earlier, and just tried to just pretty much wash off all of the excess tap water around the actual filter. Just give it a bit of boost from the old water. Then make sure it's all dry so as not to mess up your floor. Put it back, as easy as that. Hang it over the side, and then make sure dry it off. Okay, dry it off completely. Do not do that, guys. But yeah, dry it off completely. That's just my hand. And put it back in. Now you don't need to do this don't need to do this immediately, but yeah, always make sure to be safe before you plug it in. It's still electrical, and should be good to go. And that is simple tip and introduction from my fishies. So glad glad that I'm able to share you with them. Yes, the water is still a bit, let's just say, muddy or foggy. This filter hasn't worked in yet, and of course we did actually move up the gravel, so we'd expect a bit of muck going around the water, but in a few minutes that will be all okay. Then you have happy fish, you have good water balance, and then we go. So for last time, I'd like to show you to everyone, and yeah, actually just wanted to show you the other shrimp as well. So this is my aquarium. These are my pets for now. Hopefully if time, money, space permits, we'd be able to set up another aquarium with other fish, and I'll be able to share them all with you. As always, this has been Kim. I am Kim. This is Outs. And then cheers, everyone. Bye, fishies.